I'm not gonna lie, I think I need my pregnancy pillow. Give me a sec. Okay, we're back. Okay, hi everyone. I'm not pregnant. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shahira. This channel has been very inactive. I'm sorry. I had tried to start it up in like September. I was consistent at first and then shit happened. Life happens. Breakup, moving, traveling, like ill mom, like just a lot. And like my mom's been ill for a few years, but just a lot has been going on. LA fires, come back, get back into work. Like it's been chaotic. I feel like my thing's slipping now. My phone, by thing I mean phone. I decided to just sit in front of the makeup mirror so it's consistent lighting on the ground, which is why I grabbed this pregnancy pillow from TikTok shop. For today's video, I put a little question box on my Instagram. I'll put my Instagram here. And I just said, send me in some questions so I can do a Q&A. And honestly, back in the day, I would have had my mom be the #1 person to send me in a question first. So when nowadays, when I post these things, I'm like, oh, will anyone watch it? Will anyone be bothered? Will anyone send me in some questions? But I was pleasantly surprised. Like it was the same, by the way, just backtracking a second. It was the same with my posts. I would post something and my mom would be my first like, my first comment, like on anything. So yeah, anyway, I had a bit of anxiety that people weren't going to send me in any questions, but they did. And I actually have so many, well, a good few, that I talk so much, as you can see, that I don't know if I'll even get through them all, because otherwise, if I spend any time elaborating on each question, we'd be here forever and nobody would watch, because the video would be a year long. So long story short, because I couldn't be bothered to set up my camera and lighting and stuff, and I'm filming on my phone, and I had the questions on my phone, it means I've had to screenshot them and send them to my laptop. So if you see me looking down here, it's because I'm looking at the questions on my laptop, which is over here. So yeah, let's just get to it. My friend India asked, advice to your 20-year-old self. Do you know what? I was thinking about this because obviously I haven't really elaborated on what I'm going to say, what my answers are. I'm just going to let it flow. But at the same time, I did like kind of I saw the questions obviously because I had to screenshot them, send them, paste them in here. And I was thinking about this and I was like, do you know what? I actually think, sadly, my 20-year-old self could probably give myself now a lot of advice rather than the other way around. I think I was such a magnet. I was such a manifester of life. And if you know me, you know I really believe in the law of attraction and stuff. I always have. And at that time, it was very, very high for me. I felt almost magical, like my thoughts would just become my reality because there was things happening to me, and I had lucky girl syndrome that I couldn't explain. Including if you saw my previous video that I did, my first video to my channel about moving to LA, about like coming and my first day being at the Playboy Mansion and having these wild experiences and stuff, and I could just put it down to like I manifested all of that, and I still like heavily believe in that. The thing that's thrown me off in the last couple of years is my mom is ill. She has early onset dementia, and for me, there's no explaining that. And if you read the book Law of Attraction, or the book is called The Secret, but if you learn about the Law of Attraction or The Secret, people say that you even like manifested illnesses and stuff, and I don't like agree with that, and I really don't agree with that in terms of my mom. And I think she deserved so much more, and even for my mindset always involved her. She was my like why for everything. So that's the only thing that I think has like unbalanced me a little bit in the past few years in terms of my really positive mindset that I would have had when I was my 20-year-old self, like the question asked. So I think myself now would love to give my 20-year-old self a hug, but I also think that my 20-year-old self would love to give me a hug because of everything that I've gone through since then. I was quite happy-go-lucky, and I still try to be, but like young and naive. And the only thing that I would say, and something that my mom always said to me, her favorite quote to say to me was, your morals are not a reflection on the morals of others. So just because you have a good heart, or you wouldn't do something, or you wouldn't hurt somebody in this way, or you wouldn't XYZ, don't presume that they won't do that to you. And it was hard. I never really got that. I've got that now, don't get me wrong. But back then I was very trusting and quite naive, and especially, I didn't move to LA at 20, but I think at 21 or 22, like quite young. It's a big move, and I thought I was grown, and to move all that way on your own, like I still look back and I'm like, how did I do that? So my advice would just be, I wouldn't want to be a guarded person and have my guards completely up, because obviously I've been safe and I'm alive and I've made it. So it's okay. But I just say, like, try like not to just see the good in everybody, and don't be so naive to people's intentions. I don't know, just not to be as trusting. Like, the world isn't all sunshine and rainbows, and people will put things in your drinks and things might happen. So just, don't be so naive. Be a little bit more guarded. I was also from Galway, and obviously like things happen in Galway as well, don't get me wrong. But not to the extent of LA. LA is like a big bad wolf in comparison to where I'm from. So when you're growing up somewhere like that, everyone kind of knows each other a little bit, or even like if they don't, it's like there's a connection somehow type of thing. And then you come here, it's just a different kettle of fish. And I think it's good to just be a little bit more clued in and less naive. So I think that's what I would tell my 20-year-old self. And I'd also tell her, just go for it, like 100%, and don't think your time will come another time, if that makes sense. Like, the time is now, and don't be shy about things. Just, if you get an opportunity, go for it full force. Let people know that you want it, and don't like hold yourself back, because even like, again, in my early 20s, some of the gigs that I would book and stuff, I would let more domineering girls or whatever, for example, push in front of me, be at the front of the thing. I'd kind of take a step back, I'd be in the back. Like, say for example, for some music videos that I did, I remember I did one with Tyga and Yellow Claw, and I ended up crying on my way back, because I just felt that one girl had really just kind of like, I'd fairly got the video, as everyone else. I can't remember if I auditioned or just submitted or whatever, but I booked it. And the hair and makeup artists were paying quite a lot of attention to me in the beginning, and this girl just completely literally physically almost push me out of the scenes and put herself up the front and things like that. And I was very much like, okay, I'll take a step back, I'll hide out here, it's fine, I'm getting paid to be here anyway, I don't necessarily need to be in the front or anything. And it's not that I'd be like, I wouldn't go the other extreme and be the girl where I'd be like, get out of my way. I was about to curse, I don't want to curse on YouTube. Don't get me wrong, that's not who I would be at all, but I just would stand up for myself a little bit more and be more confident that I'm supposed to be there, and like, get your hands off me, bitch. You know what I mean? But anyway, so that's that. See, I ramble for it. That's only the first question. Somebody asked, I don't know if I want to go straight to this one, but okay, we will, because I've read it. So, trying to keep it PG for YouTube, but you previously explored less PG content creation. Would you do it again? By that, they mean OF, because I was on OF and I won't say the word, algorithm, whatever. I was on that platform in 2020, going into 2021. And honestly, I thought I was getting ahead of the curve joining that platform, because I thought that everybody was going to be on it. And again, even my naivety then, I didn't realize the stigma that was going to be attached to it and how it would stop other opportunities for me. And if I had known that, I might have made different decisions. Someone said, your journey in Muay Thai. And I still don't know if I pronounced Muay Thai correctly, by the way, guys. I'm not sure if I do, because actually a boxer, I said it on one of my stories. Like, I was like, I'm going to my Muay Thai or whatever. And a boxer replied to my story and was like, ha ha ha, Muay Thai. And I think he'd know what he's talking about. So I don't know, maybe it's my accent, or maybe I'm actually butchering the word, I'm not sure. But I don't know what the question is, except for like your journey in that, because that's what it says, your journey in Muay Thai, but there's like no direct question. So my journey in Muay Thai, Thai boxing, started when I was a teenager. I took a couple of classes when I was super, like, I don't know how old I was, 14, 15, 16, like somewhere around there. And not to toot my own horn, but I was naturally gifted at it, and I'm not a very I am an athletic person, but I'm not a very sporty person normally in terms of like anything with balls. I'm no good at. So like basketball, soccer, anything PE type of things that we do in PE, I hated. But I don't know if it's just something in the Irish blood, honestly, where we all can kind of fight a little bit. And I found that I just took to it really well as a teenager, and I loved it. I also love working out and getting fit, so I just felt it was a really good form of fitness while you're learning a skill. And also I think it's really important for girls to know how to protect themselves. So the trainer actually went to my mom and said to my mom, can I put her, because I was underage, I was under 18, can I put her into some fights? Like, could this be a thing? And my mom said, no, you'll mess up her face. So she didn't want me getting a broken nose or something, which most people would. And don't get me wrong, I actually have no desire to be any type of professional like fighter. Even now that I'm doing this training, it's really just to, like I said, learn a new skill and get fit, and it's something that I enjoy. So that's why I'm doing it. But yeah, no like goals beyond that at all. And then, so anyway, my mom had said no, and then eventually Ireland can be kind of a little rough, I want to say, sometimes. And when I was a teenager, this girl wanted to beat me up, long story short, over a boy. So stupid. And I remember I gave up Muay Thai because I got in the mindset that girls shouldn't fight, this is disgusting. And I did, and I was like just going into my girly girl era. Whereas you think I would have been like, oh, this girl wants to beat me up, well, I'm training Muay Thai, so come get it. You know, you think I would have like gone the opposite way and like tried to get really good at it. But it actually made me think girls shouldn't fight for whatever reason. That was my mindset at the time. And I stopped going to training, and I never should have. I should have kept it up. Well, actually, backtrack to like a year or so ago, I did a commercial with a director or a videographer who also does MMA and Muay Thai and like random fighting. I don't know what else he trains in. And it came up. So I said, oh, I did that when I was a teenager. I really loved it, like da. And then recently, or like a couple months ago, he reached out to me and he was like, would you like to train with this trainer in West Hollywood? And actually it's just down the street from me. And I said, yeah, of course, let me do it. I definitely want to do it. And I asked my friend Suvi to join me because I didn't really want to do it on my own. And she came along with me, and actually it came into my life at the most pivotal, perfect time, and it's helped me so much. It's actually like a form of therapy for me. Like, it's just amazing. Because my ex that I was with for 2.5 years, actually exactly at the time, and we broke up, and we were living together, and he moved out. And then 2 days later my classes began, and I have done them every week since, except for obviously the 2-week period when I was in, well, it's not obvious if you don't know, but the 2-week period when I was in Ireland over Christmas. So that, along with actual therapy, has helped me so much, but it just couldn't have come at a better time, because it's such a good way to let out your frustration and to do something fun with a friend, learn a new skill, and I would recommend it to anyone who can. I'll put my teacher's name here, and obviously if you're in Los Angeles or in especially the West Hollywood area, I would recommend it like 1,000%. Somebody said, do you believe in reincarnation and souls? I do. I actually believe that I was reincarnated from a Bangladeshi woman who died, stay with me, in a tsunami in Bangladesh. And the reason that I think that is because I've always had a nightmare about tsunamis and running from a tsunami, like my entire life. It's a reoccurring nightmare that I have. And the day I was born, there was a cyclone in Bangladesh. My grandfather is from Bangladesh, so my mom's dad. And my mom was in hospital, and when she was giving birth to me, she was getting upset because she was seeing on the news however many, I I want to say it was like 100,000 people in Bangladesh died, or like a lot of people died. Guys, I didn't know I was going to tell this story at all, so that's such a good question to be way into it. But she said she was like crying, and then when she saw me as the baby, she thought, this is a little Bangladeshi soul. And I know that's so far-fetched, but then she told me this story, didn't think much about it, just went on with my life like you do as a little girl and kid and teenager growing up and whatever. And it was only actually in recent years, like since I've been living in Los Angeles, that I found out that it wasn't, so she always said cyclone, it was a cyclone in Bangladesh. It wasn't just a cyclone, it was like this terrible storm, terrible thing that happened that also had a tsunami in Bangladesh. And I've had this ongoing dream of dying and running from a tsunami my whole life, even as a childhood, like in childhood. So I think I was reincarnated, and I definitely believe in that. The next question, do you want kids or do you want to get married? Guys, the pressure that women feel to get married, to have kids, is just something else. Like, it's extreme. And especially as you start to get a little older, oh my God, it's too much. And here's what I'd say, like, I never envisioned my life to not have kids. So yes, like at some point I want kids, but do I feel ready for a kid right now? Absolutely not. But am I getting older? Yeah. So is there going to come a time in my life where I actually feel like now's the time and I feel ready? I hope so, and I hope it won't be too late. Although there's so many other ways around things now. You know, in 2025, the clock isn't ticking as much as it used to be ticking because you have other options, and maybe I'd go that route. But I don't know. I'm very much a type of person where I'm like, I've had so many losses in my life and so many tragedies happen and things happen out of nowhere that I'm kind of like, I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I don't know if I'm going to be alive tomorrow. It's like, that's how I feel. And so I try to just live my life day by day and see what comes. I don't really plan, like I know what I would like to happen, but I don't really plan like way too far in advance. And I also like have this desire to really accomplish a lot more and travel a lot more. And not that you can't do that with kids, but it's difficult and it depends on your financial situation and everything else. So a lot comes into it. So like I do want to get married and have kids, but I just don't know when that will be. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'll be okay. I just take life day by day because I don't know what age I'll make it to, where things will take me. So that's just kind of how I try to see the world. Obviously I'm just out of a long-term relationship, and you know, part of our issues, and I don't want to dive too deep into them in any way, but you know, obviously when you're in a long-term relationship, those are the type of things that you think are going to be the like natural next steps at some point. And that's definitely like what I wanted at the time, but I also feared it because things weren't 100% right in the relationship. So it would make me be very much in fight or flight with things. So I don't know. I'm open to it. I never saw my life to be old and not have any kids. So I hope so. If I'm going to live to be old, I hope I have some kids. But I'm also not worried about it. It is what it is, you know? So we'll see what happens. But I do love kids. For those of you that don't know, I was a teacher in a past life. No, I trained to be a teacher. That's what I went to university to do originally, straight after school. And I love my nieces so much as well. Like, I don't get to see them often, but even just there being home at them at Christmas time, I just felt I bonded with them really well, like as their aunt, and maybe I can just be the cool aunt. What's the most important advice on life that you've ever heard? It's ruthless. It's a ruthless world out here. What else? Let me see. What's the most important advice on life you've ever heard? Do I have anything else profound or good to say? Do you know what? Just that life is short as well. And it's not advice that I've necessarily heard. It's just been my life experience. From losing a best friend at 18 to my mom getting ill the way she is, having a lot of peers back home pass away, things happen. It's very stressful situations, like not really knowing what a day will bring a lot of the time. you have to just make the most of it. And I actually was having a conversation with my sister the other day on voice notes. We voice note back and forth to each other, and she was saying she's feeling a bit down, and it's really hard because obviously with our situation with our mother, it could bring you to the pits of hell. Like, it really could. If you thought about it enough, you could just be like, F life, F all of this, like, I'm gonna be depressed and I actually don't want to live anymore. Like, because it affects you that deeply, like her whole my mom's situation, that I replied to my sister and I said, the way I see it is that I have two choices. I can sink or I can swim, and that's it. There's no in between. So for me, it's like almost a fake it till you make it mentality, where I'm like, I force myself to try to be happy. And maybe that's, I don't know how you might analyze that, but I'll literally be like, force myself to enjoy my day, even if I feel down on the inside and I'm very upset. I'll be like, force myself to be grateful for something, force myself to have fun with my friends, whatever it is. And it is sometimes forceful, especially when you're going through a lot in life and all you want to do really is lie in the bed and cry. But again, for me, where is that going to get me? You sink or you swim. And I'm not saying that you can never do that. You can't have a day here or there where you wallow in whatever's going on in your life. But at the same time, like, I know what my mom would want from me. She wants me to live a happy life and to try to be successful and still lead with kindness, because you could also be bitter and horrible to the world. So that's just what I try to do. Just get on with it and fake it till you make it, and force yourself to try to think positive thoughts even when you feel down. Force yourself to enjoy the sandwich, enjoy the food, like just see the little things in life. And now that's not to say if you have any actual mental health issues or actual depression not to get medical help, because I definitely think you should, but that's just the way that I live my life in terms of some life advice that I recently talked about to my sister. Why did you move from Ireland? Would you ever move back? Why move to the US in particular? So I actually have a video on my channel that's all about my journey in moving to LA. So that would like definitely go more in depth into it. But honestly, I would say that I was just kind of fixated on Los Angeles. I think like a lot of people, because of watching it on TV and movies. So I feel like I want to say 4, like since I was a really little girl, I remember saying I was going to move to Hollywood and stuff. And part of me wonders if my mom used to listen to Tupac, and she'd drop me off to school and she'd be playing that song, To Live and Die in LA, you know that one? And California Love, or whatever. So I had this like fixation on this being a magical place. And then when I came on vacation here, it definitely gave me that magical feeling, and I had the most amazing time, and I was just like, I need to live there. That's my happy place, sunshine, etc. I don't see myself or foresee myself ever permanently moving back to Ireland, but I don't know. I definitely, this time around when I visited, I felt way more supported by people that I had known in Ireland and even strangers, and it was amazing. And my mom is there, and I would like to look after her more and see her more. So I'm not saying like absolutely not, but it just depends on where. At the moment I have a job here, I have things going on here, but like who knows how the cookie might crumble. But I don't think if I ever did move there that it would be a permanent thing. It would be more so maybe for a couple months or a year or something like that. Someone said, how was your trip to Ireland? My trip to Ireland this time was, initially I don't know, I even posted on my Instagram story my hand visibly shaking. In the lead up to it, I had so much anxiety. I did not think I could do it, because it's really hard for me to see my mom in the condition she's in. She's non-verbal, so she can't speak, and I don't think she really knows anything that's going on or who anyone is. Like, there's little glimmers of hope or something there at times, but like for the most part, it's not like that. I want to do a more in-depth video. I just haven't had the courage to do it on my mom's condition and on, I don't know, just what's happened in her life and stuff. But yeah, so initially, because I was supposed to be going to Ireland with that ex that I was with, and then suddenly I wasn't, I was nervous as hell. And don't get me wrong, the year before when we did travel together, I was still nervous. But to face it on my own, I actually went to the doctor and asked for anti-anxiety medication for the flights, because I was like, I'm going to have a panic attack on both flights, because going there initially to see my mom and then leaving my mom on my own, my voice even cracks like to think about it. I was a shell of myself in the days before, but I'm glad to report that I actually found the trip quite healing. I spent quite a significant amount of time with my sister and with my nieces, and I felt so much support. Like, even I was on the streets and like random people would come up to me who have followed me on social media, who I might not have met before, and they would ask, how's your mom? Because they were following the journey on my Instagram stories and things like that, and it made me just feel a lot more supported and not as alone as I was feeling when I was going there. And then also I had my two friends from 12 years old there, so like staying with them is what I mean. And then I met up with more friends. So honestly, like, I got through it. It was really, really tough. Especially because I went in to see my mom on my own every day, bar two. One time my sister came with me, and then on the first time I went there, my friend came with me. But other than that, I spent every single day driving in and out of there on my own. And it's really hard for me not to cry around my mom, and I try to hold back my tears, and like I don't want her to see me crying, because I don't want her to in any way compute that means upset, and then for her to get anxious or upset in any way. So it was very difficult, but it showed me how strong I am as a person, how resilient I am, and how I don't need anybody, honestly. If they don't want to be there for me, they don't need to be. I'm trying to pick one that's a little bit more lighthearted now, because that was deep. If you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? I always said my my death row meal, like my last meal, would be kind of fancy, but Mastro's crab legs, king crab legs, and not the one from their seafood tower, the actual king crab legs, with mashed potato and butter sauce. Yeah, that would be and then like some veg or whatever on the side, but definitely it's the main thing is the crab legs, and I like mashed potato as well. What's one thing you wish more people understood about you? I don't know, because I don't know how people perceive me, really. Like, I'm unsure. So yeah, I don't really know how to answer that question. I would say that I sometimes I think I overshare on social media, and sometimes I think people don't know anything that I'm saying. Like, it's kind of I'm very forgetful. So I don't know what I portray on social media, but I would say that social media for the most part isn't real. And just because someone looks like they're living an amazing life, and I think particularly I would say this to my friends say in Galway, some of them will be like, oh, but you're in LA, so everything must be good because it's been raining here for 50 days and 50 nights straight or whatever, and you're in the sunshine and da da da. And yes, that's true about sunshine. It does make things easier, don't get me wrong, but like, not everything is always what it seems. On like, people put usually just their best stuff on social media, or their happiest times. So don't presume, I would say, about like, say, looking at my life, and I don't know if people do this, but like, don't presume by looking at my stuff that everything's great, because obviously I've got a lot going on, particularly with my mom's illness being the main thing, and I've got a twitch in my eye for the past month and a half from stress. So while I try to be happy and I try to enjoy my days, I try to fake it till you make it, like I said earlier on, doesn't mean that I don't have a lot of sadness and a lot going on inside, because I do. So that's all I'd say is, like, don't automatically think, oh, she's out at this, or she's doing that, whatever. Because I would swap all of that and everything just to have my mom be healthy, like honestly, and sit down and have a cup of tea with her. So I would just say that sometimes people's like life might look better than it is in reality, and actually if you knew what was going on, you wouldn't want to swap shoes. Isn't there that saying, like, if everyone put their troubles down in a bag, you'd pick back up your own if you were to see what was actually going on? So I don't know if that really answered the question, but that's what I would say. So somebody else asked about the owl. Has the owl come to me again since Christmas time? And if you don't know, I don't think I ever told the story. Oh my god. So long story short, as I said, I was so nervous to go to Ireland, and I was sitting out on my balcony, my new apartment that I just moved into, and I was looking. It looks out over the city. It has the most beautiful view, and I was looking out over the city and I was tearing up, honestly. I was just a shell of myself. I was so nervous about going to Ireland in the following days to come. I was really just thinking about my mom, and I was drinking a cup of tea, and she loved tea, and I was having a cup of tea out there. I was wishing she could be sitting with me and things would just be different. I was just heavily thinking about her. And next minute, I feel a presence watching me, and I look to my left, and there is a big owl on the balcony with me. An owl. An owl. Like, what the hell? In my 10 years of living in LA, I have never seen an owl. I also, don't know about you, but I associate owls more with colder places. I'm sure they are. Well, obviously they are here because I've seen one, but what are the chances? I've gone on hikes, I've got, places where you might see an owl, and I have not seen an owl. So for it to be sitting on my balcony with me on the thing is just bizarre. And in that moment, I felt a little scared because I was like, there's a big ass owl on the balcony with me. Also, I had my phone in my hand, and I was like, is it going to swoop and like take my phone and go, or like attack me or something? Like, I didn't know, because it was like, how would they turn their head like that? I was like, oh my god, I'm a little scared, but also how wonderful that this owl, like, is like both feelings. This owl is just sitting here with me. How amazing. And it sat there with me for about an hour after. I just drank my tea and I just sat there, and me and the owl just sat there together. It was so bizarre. And eventually it flew off, and it went to the building in front of me, just down, like, straight eye contact. And it sat there on the other building, but just facing me, like straight in front of me. Now, I did talk about this on my Instagram story, and then of course what I do, like everyone would do, Google it. What's the meaning of an owl? What, like, an owl coming to see you, like, what does that mean? And it's kind of scary because there's different interpretations. Like, in some cultures, I think in like Mexico or some places, I said that, like, that sounded so dumb. That sounded like that girl, the Miss USA, who's like, some people don't have maps. But in certain cultures, an owl represents like negative things, like death, and like I literally saw like imminent death or something, and I was like, oh my god, I'm going on an airplane, I'm going to see my sick mom. Like, I was scared, but I also had this underlying feeling of just like magic and like niceness with it as well. So I was like, I'm not going to believe that. Then all the other things were about intuition and your spirit guides guiding you, and you just to trust your intuition with things, which obviously, and over the last couple months, I've really had to do. So then, anyway, that was wonderful. I didn't think I'd see the owl again, but I felt like it was a very magic moment, especially because of what I was thinking about and how I was feeling in that moment. It was almost like it was my mom or something. Like, it was really like quite nice. And then I had to spend Christmas Day alone, which wasn't the plan, because obviously it wasn't the plan. And that ended up happening. And then the owl came to me on Christmas Day. And then on the 26th, I believe, when did I fly out to Ireland? Oh yeah, so I worked one day. Oh yeah, so the 26th, the night of the 26th, like, so Christmas Day going into 26th, the owl came to me again, and that's my friend's anniversary of her passing. So for me, I just really did feel that it was very spiritual, that like, because it says spirit guides and stuff are with you, and that's like how it felt for me. And it just, it gave me some peace, or just like, it was just nice. But then, you guys, I go to Ireland, and like, this just sounds unbelievable. Like, it really doesn't sound true. I was in Ireland. So now this one owl in LA has come to me 3 different times in the over Christmas. And then I've flown off to Ireland. Again, in Ireland, I have never seen an owl in Ireland either. And I lived there my whole life up until the point I moved here. So again, no interaction, natural interaction with owl. I've seen owls at like shows where they fly them, and like pet zoos, like random things like that, but never like in the wild. So I go to my mom's care facility on my own, and I took a few minutes to eat a sandwich in the car outside before I went in, just on my own, because there's a lot of sicknesses and stuff that go around in there, and it's not that nice of an environment to eat inside there. So I was just like, let me just take a moment in the parking lot to eat my sandwich to myself, gather my thoughts before I go in and see my mom. So I was just sitting there, and almost the exact same thing happened, where I feel a presence. This time I look to my right, at the right window. There's an owl on the telephone post looking at me. I just you couldn't make it up. Like, well, you could, but like, what the hell? It felt so crazy, especially because of where I was at my mom's thing. So now there's an owl in LA visiting me, and suddenly there's an owl in Ireland visiting me, and I've never seen an owl in either place ever before, or have I had any type of fixation on owls, or they didn't mean much to me other than I like owls, but like no more than the next person. And it just felt so magical. So I had my sandwich, the thing stayed on that pole, and then it flew down to another pole that was like across the way, similar to how the owl here had sat with me and then flown straight in front of me on the building. And then it just flew back, and it flew over the car. And at that point I went inside to see my mom. But how magical and how bizarre. So now I went to Penny's in Ireland, and I saw Harry Potter pajamas that had owls all over them, and I got them. So now owls are my special thing. I feel like I have a connection with owls, and I don't know what was going on. It was really wild. Oh yeah, so it's only in LA, it sat with me that one time, like on the balcony. And then other than that, it came at night. That was a bit of dust flying by the camera. It came at night, and it'd sit on the balcony. This is on the night of Christmas, and then the night of the 26th, like Christmas going into the 26th, which was my friend's anniversary. It sat outside my bedroom window at like 3 a.m. or so, hooting, hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo, whatever, right at the window. So yeah, just absolutely a magical, crazy experience. And let's wrap it up, because I feel like I've still got more questions, you guys, but I just talk for too long. You stay motivated when life feels overwhelming. I think about what my mom wants from my life. That's it, really. And like I said before, similar to the sink or swim, I just have to do it. My belly button piercing is hurting. So yeah, it's hard to be motivated sometimes, but sometimes you gotta get up and go, anyway, like push yourself to do things. Like, that's kind of how I've kind of had to take it, or had to look at it. I don't know if that's the healthiest way, but for example, like sometimes like you don't feel like going to the gym at all. You make yourself go, and then after you feel great. Sometimes it's just like jumping anyway, and like forcing yourself to do what feels uncomfortable in the moment, because it's going to make you feel better ultimately. I don't know if that's a very good answer to that question, but that's what I would say. What do you look for in a partner? Do you know what's funny, guys? My ex-boyfriend was convinced that I would want somebody who has money. And then when I was on a podcast last year, and it only came out, we filmed it like a year and a half ago, and then it only came out recently. they asked me a similar question to this, and I said like, you know, humor and kindness and blah blah blah, and like I don't know how it came up, but long story short, I was like the guy said something like, oh, I thought like money would be important to you, and I was like, no, not really. And then because I don't come from that, and then they asked me what my current partner at the time, like what he did for a living, and I swear they thought I was going to go like, oh, he's flies private jets or like something super wealthy. And when I didn't, they were like, wow, I'm surprised at that. And I was like, why are you surprised? Why are you surprised at that? I think maybe that's surprising just because that's like a general thing in LA, like with people, not everyone obviously, but just in general. But don't get me wrong, if you meet the love of your life and they happen to be a billionaire or whatever, amazing for you, like that's great, and that makes life easier. But I don't come from anything like that, so that's not a need of mine. Now, I don't want to be in the struggle necessarily for the rest of my life, but I also believe in what my mother has given me. And when I say my mom, it's because I was raised just by my mom, not by two parents. So I always refer to like just how I was raised, like my mom. But I believe in like, my mom gave me a lot of self-belief, and like always kind of told me I could be anything I wanted in life, and that I was intelligent and that I could succeed. And she was really I don't just say that, like she's the most fantastic mother, and I said that when she was healthy and when she's ill. But that's really just embedded in me, that like, I don't need no man to make me feel good, you know, that type of thing. Like I believe in my own, I don't need a come up. I believe in my own talents and ability and intelligence and whatever else, that I feel I can, if I want something, I'm also very determined, and I'm like, if I want to succeed in something in life, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do it. Whatever that might be, I feel like if I put my mind on something 100%, I can accomplish it. That's all thanks to my mom giving me that self-belief. So long story short, while, you know, it's a plus if you meet somebody and they're amazing and kind and loyal and everything else that you look for, and they also like, I don't struggle, like amazing, that's great, that will help your life for sure. But I think I can get there on my own, is what I'm trying to say. I can get there for myself, so I don't feel that's a need that I need to look for in someone else. Although I do find ambition like really attractive, and I would like to be with somebody where you want to work together to build, sorry, I keep doing that so the computer doesn't close down so I can see the questions. You want to work with somebody like as a team to build like your dream life together, or whatever that might be. So ambition is very important to me. So, you know, someone who has some get up and go and things like that. So yeah, that's important. What do you look for in a partner? Ambition. And then honestly, like, I just want to enjoy my days. Like I said, have learned how short life is, and for that reason I want to spend it around people who are fun and that I like genuinely enjoy being around and feel happy around and have a good time. So like the same sense of humor. I feel like I have quite a young soul. I think I'll always be like that, and I hope whoever I'm with would have the same. And then obviously loyalty is the number one. Someone who's as loyal as I am, and you don't have to worry and stress about things like that, because yeah, that's just a very stressful thing to go through. And then I always find it very attractive when guys are good with kids or animals or anything like that, and show like a kindness and a soft side to them. So softness too. Anyway, we're spending way too long on that, because that's not even relevant at the moment. Have I answered that? What's the biggest lesson you've learned in the past year? The thing that I've discovered is Mel Robbins' "let them" theory. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but that's something that I've read about, and I have listened to podcasts about. It says what it is on the tin, but just like, let them. I'm very emotional, and I can be very reactive to things, but now I think I want to keep my peace is like my number one priority. And if somebody wants to think negatively about me, post negative stuff about me, say negative things to people, like, it is what it is. All I could do is just let them. People want to believe that. They wanted to believe things about you anyway. And also, like, you can't control someone else's actions or their thoughts, which is something I think, like, people battle with. This person doesn't think I'm a good person. How can this person think this about me? How can this person be so deluded? Why did my friends go out without me? Why this, why that? Let everyone do what they want to do, and they'll show you who they are. You trying to force somebody, like, your own morals or what you wouldn't do on top of somebody else is not allowing you to see who that person is. And if you actually see who that person is, maybe you don't want them in your life anymore anyway.
So when you say let them, or no fucks given, you release. And let them is you detaching from this and saying, I can't control this, therefore I am not going to try to. I'm going to let it happen. Also can control how you decide to respond to your emotions. Are you going to let them run you over and rage text at somebody, flip somebody off in traffic? Or are you going to let them? And then say, let me. This is not worth my time and energy. No fucks given to this motherfucker because I value my time and energy.
What's your dream job or ultimate career goal? When I was little, I wanted to be like a Spice Girl or later on a Pussycat Doll. Like, that's what I wanted to be. And I actually got into a girl group when I was maybe 19 years old, and it didn't work out in the end. But yeah, that was like what I dreamt of being since I was a little girl. Now I'm getting older. I don't think that's going to happen. Sadly. But honestly, I truly enjoy modeling and stuff, and I want to keep that up. Even as old as I get, I feel like I could just transition into doing different types of modeling. Like, maybe I'll do hand modeling one day, or like Marks and Spencer's or something when I'm older or whatever. But I just love being in front of the camera, like, a lot. And I think I was always kind of, I did stage schools and stuff on weekends, like singing, acting, dancing, when growing up throughout the years. But after my friend passed away is when I started the modeling. And for me, it was, my mind would be thinking of her and thinking of the grief and overwhelmed, and I would have panic attacks, and it was all way too much for me for a long time. But when I would be in front of the camera and even watching TV, I'd be thinking about it, anything, a song, a move, whatever it was, I was always thinking about it. The only time I disconnected was when I was on camera, because in that moment, for modeling, for example, all I was thinking about was the pose and how it looked, and I was in that moment. I found something that made me be just in this moment and not thinking about everything else that was going on. So for that reason, I still absolutely love it, and I want to keep that up. Obviously, I'm doing property management now. I'd also like to get my real estate license and sell mansions in LA and stuff. So yeah, there's a few things. The last thing, fave and least favorite thing about LA. My favorite thing is the sunshine and just the positivity and the kind of go get your dreams type of attitude. My least favorite thing is it can be a bit dangerous, and the homelessness, and it can be a bit dirty and stuff in places, parts of the city. That's all really. I actually truly really love this place. So this is going to be the longest video in the world. I've spent forever. My back is killing me from sitting on this ground, and I'm absolutely starving. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much if you've watched. I always say let me know what type of videos that you want me to do, and I know some people have, so I don't want it to seem like, oh well, you say that and I've let you know and you haven't done that video. Let me know again, because I'm back on track now, and I'm going to keep it up and try to put out something every week or so. That's the goal. Thank you so much for watching. If you do have any comments, concerns, suggestions, leave them below. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and follow me on social media, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.